We are the Upper Tier, brought to you by the Dynamo Podcast Network. And today we're going to do a Tottenham versus Liverpool match preview coming to you this Thursday night at 8 p.m. And joining me today, friends of the show, my Mania OG buddies, Mr. Dean Fitzpatrick and Mr. Graham Cummins. How we doing, guys?
Oh, good.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
There you go. There you go. So I suppose where do we start with this? I suppose Thursday, 8 o'clock. It's a huge game for both teams. Certainly both teams could definitely deal with the win. Looking at current league form, it's not too dissimilar. Liverpool with 1 win, 3 draws, 2 losses. Tottenham with 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. A bit like Noah's Ark, 2-2. But I suppose what we should do is look at what we're thinking in terms of predicted lineups, current form at the moment, any team news, see what players are out, and then have a chat about the key battles. And then you two boys can give us your predictions for Thursday night. So you live or die by the sword, basically, when you come on this show. You know, there's no getting off. So who wants to start? Graham, you start and talk to us about Tottenham at the moment. Talk to us about form, Jose, how he's doing, and how you think the team will line up. What players you think are going to be out there?
Well, I think that we haven't been the same since we beat United 6-1. I just think that we've maybe go 1-0, 2-0 up and then sit back and then let the other teams have the ball and then it comes back to haunt us the way it did against West Ham, especially. Like 3-0 up and then let them have the ball and then sit back and let them equalise and disaster.
Yeah, even Fulham was a weird one, wasn't it? I mean, you should have beaten Fulham, handy, like, you kind of let them back in the game by sitting back and trying to see the game out. So in terms of player selection, what are you looking at, Graham? I read today that I think Doherty, Dele Alli and Lo Celso are probably going to be out by the sounds of things.
Well, Doherty has been out for the last few weeks. I don't know if he had an injury or anything, but Dele Alli he's not getting into the sides. Obviously, he's on Jose's out list and it's chopping and changing every week. I don't know what lineup he's going to have, especially when we're playing tonight as well. Somebody gets an injury tonight, they're out Thursday. So
yeah, and tonight's probably a big night against Wickham as well because you got to get through that first, and obviously that would be a trophy that Spurs are targeting, the FA Cup. You know,
definitely, yeah.
I was going with the lines of I think Lloris are playing goals anyway. And I think you'd have Aurier, Dyer, Sanchez, Reguilon, and Ndombele, Holberg, Winks, Bergwijn, Kane, and Son. That's kind of in around what I was saying. For the purposes of this preview anyway. It's obviously hard to know. But yeah, it just seems that I mean, like, you look at Spurs, I mean, you've all the attacking prowess there. And even your midfield is very strong when you think about it. Your back line can be a little bit suspect. Obviously, Lloris is a decent keeper, but he has had his moments. But I'm just wondering, like, it's a tough one. You just can't seem to see games out and, you know, put that 3 points on the board, put teams to the sword. Obviously, you know, Bergwijn, since he came in, has been outstanding. Obviously, Kane and Son go without question. I mean, they're both excellent players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, where do you see? I suppose we should pass over, first of all, before we move on, we pass over to Dean. Dean, give us your thoughts on Liverpool at the moment and, you know, how you see them lining up for this big game. At the moment, it looks like Henderson, Keita, Jota, Gomez and Van Dijk obviously are out. Henderson might come in, who knows, but I think the other 4 will definitely be out for this one. So give us your thoughts on team selection and
I just want to touch on what Graham said there about Spurs. Hold on, take his glass off. I can barely breathe with the things. Just want to touch on what Graham said there about Tottenham's pattern of play since they beat United. I suppose it's Mourinho, so you know he's going to play defensive football. I think he could have every best attacking player in world football in the one team, and he still wouldn't play to their strengths. I suppose that's why opposition hate him. But I don't know what way Spurs are looking at him this year because the fans haven't been in the stadium. But every single game, they could go a goal up in the first 10 seconds, and you know they're going to sit back, which if he was air manager, I'd be frustrated because they have got the players there in attack now. Their defense is a bit more solidified, so they have got the players now where they don't need to play defensively. If you're going 1-0 up early on against Fulham, you should be going for the kill. I know we're struggling this year, but Klopp would do it. Ole seems to be doing it as well with United now. I know Fulham had the better chances the other night, but United are still pushing on, trying to get that goal. I think that could be because of the position that they're in the league, and they're not used to this situation, but they know the only way that they can stay at the top now is by attacking. But with Spurs, I'm scratching my head every weekend, whether I'm watching the game or you watch the highlights or you just hear the results. You're thinking to yourself, right, they've got a goal up there, yet they've drawn or they've lost. It's just this match on Thursday. Spurs have to be looking at the Liverpool United game last week and thinking to themselves, we're at home. We've got the players with the pace on the counter to absolutely destroy Liverpool. If I was Jose Mourinho, I'm at home, we're a few points behind, I'd be going for the kill on Thursday night, because you mentioned the names there that are injured for Liverpool, but like you also have to mention Fabinho was missing because he's not sitting in the middle. Henderson is missing because he's not sitting in the middle. Thiago is not having the impact we'd like him to have because he's sitting further back in the absence of Fabinho and Henderson. Trent, he's getting carried through games. I know like the last 5 games haven't been great, but he's been getting carried through games. Thursday night, if I was Klopp, Matip and Nat Phillips to work with the aerial threats from set pieces. I'd play Milner right back, Robertson left back. But you have to be putting Fabinho in the middle of the park against a team like Spurs, because we're not breaking up the play early on in attacks. We look vulnerable on every attack from the opposition. So I don't know how he's going to play it, but if it was me, I'd be playing Phillips and Matip at the back, Milner right back, and Fabinho in the middle. He just has to go for it now. We're falling too far behind. If he doesn't go for it now, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, I think with United playing during the week now, I mean, they're probably potentially, I think they're playing Sheffield United, I think. So they're probably going to go 9 points ahead prior to that game against Spurs. So that's going to make it even critical, you know. But I think you're right in your call there in midfield, because I think with Spurs having Winks in there and Hallberg, and these are really strong, really good players. Hallberg has been outstanding since he came in. Absolutely.
Hallberg is being like there, Fabinho.
Yeah. Absolutely outstanding. And Winks, in fairness to Winks has stepped up as well. He's a proper baller as well. You know what I mean? So it has all the makings of a great game. But it's really like, you know, I would have said that Jose probably would have went for it if we hadn't had visibility of the game yesterday against United in the FA Cup, because I think he's saying there that the likes of Firmino and Salah, they can switch it on when they want to and absolutely kill teams off to a point, you know what I mean? But there's a bit of form there, like form, you know, our form is being out at the moment, but it's beginning to return, and we're beginning to wake up the fact that, yeah, we're much better, you know, as a unit, we're better than the sum of each of the parts, if you like. So in terms of key battles, let's say key battles on the pitch there, Graham, what are you looking at as key battles on the pitch at the moment?
Well, I'd probably say Liverpool are probably looking at Aurier at right back, saying he is a liability. Like he has his good games, he has his bad games, and Thursday night could be his bad game when he gives everything away. Like in previous matches, he has given away penalties, especially in the first minute against the win over United. Okay, we came back and won it comfortably, but he's in and out. He's has a good game, bad games. I don't know if Jose is looking to get rid of him or have someone in to back him up. I'd say
the problem there is he's going to have to keep Sadio Mane quiet. And you know, with Sadio Mane's footwork and speed and stuff like that, there is that element there for potentially a penalty. One of the key ones that I looked at, obviously, and I'm not too sure if it goes, I was thinking if Fabinho played at the back, a key battle there would be against Kane. And I also looked at if Trent did play, he'd be up against Son. And I think there, like that Son Trent one could be key for Spurs in terms of creating chances for them, because obviously Trent is out of form. Son's a proper baller. He knows how to twist and turn Trent inside out, I'd imagine, you know. But the key one for me, and I think where the battle will be won and lost, will really be if Henderson plays against Winks and if Thiago's up against Hallberg. I think that midfield battle in there will be very, very interesting. The only thing is, if Jose does park the bus and he does play that low block, he might bypass the midfield and be hitting the front man very quickly to take that midfield out of play, and that would be my actual concern. I think Eric Dyer, he'll probably match up okay to Salah, because Salah, although he's coming back to a bit of form, you've seen it in the last game, he's still not the Salah that we know and love as Liverpool fans. And Dyer is a solid defender 9 times out of 10,
Yeah. He is prone to a bit of a lapse where one-on-one, you forget that he's the last man and he could jump in with a lunatic tackle. So I'd be looking at that. If I wonder, we still have to wait and see which way we line up, whether Henderson's going to play or not. I don't know how bad that injury is. He apparently had a knock, but please God, he starts. Thiago taking man mark. Holberg's obviously on a man mark. Thiago plays further forward. So obviously that's going to leave the 3 lads. I'd be targeting out of the back four that Spurs have at the moment. No one looks vulnerable. I know RDA is a bit of a lunatic, but he's really stepped up this year, I think. But they're not really looking vulnerable at the back anymore. But the weak link out of that team at the back is Dyer for me. So I'd be just target every time Salah or Mane gets the ball, I'd be just going straight at him, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where it doesn't really set up for us as well. If we're going to throwing crosses in there, a lot of them in the last 5 games have been kind of hitting hopeful balls with no real intent to them, if you like. Yeah. And I think against Spurs, throwing balls into the box there, especially hopeful balls, that's meat and veg to Spurs, really, when you think about it. They'll just clear that, no problem, you know what I mean? So I think if we can keep the ball on the park or on the ground and try and play through the lines and try and open them up that way with some of that slick passing from Firmino and from Thiago, I think we could do all right and we could do a bit of damage. But I think if we go back to the sort of Robbo and Trent, or, Robbo and Milner combination where they're going up the wing and they're just throwing hopeful balls into the box. I mean, again, you've seen it yesterday against United. It's just, it's just a lot of, don't clear the first man, hopeful kind of balls, no real intent. It's only when we get up there and we believe in ourselves and we put that intent in there that the ball goes in, and you can see that the boys are then moving in the lines and it looks like we're picking out a pass rather than throwing a hopeful ball in. The other thing I'd say is Lloris, he's not. Graham, what do you think of this? Lloris, he's not one of those keepers that tends to come for a lot of balls either. He tends to stay on his line a lot. What do you think of that?
I think in previous seasons, like from corners, especially, he'd want to jump up and punch the ball. But when he punches the ball away, the other team get the ball and they end up scoring. And obviously, Jose has been saying, if a corner comes in, stay on your line, try and catch you if you can, punch you if you need to, but don't go off your line, because we've given too many goals away in the past when he's jumped out, punched, other team get the ball, score. So stay in his line. We haven't been the same since the World Cup, I don't think. I think that's gotten through his head a bit, that he's the best keeper in the world. But he's not, I don't think.
Well, I think when he stays on his line, he's a fine shot slapper and stuff like that. But I think when he does leave his line, he doesn't have that confidence. Because if you look at him, he's not a big stature keeper either. No. He's not an Alisson or an Ederson or even a De Gea or a Henderson. He's not one of those big stature keepers that's going to come out and just take it. He's kind of erratic. He comes out, and as you said, he tends to punch the ball more than catch the ball. Yeah. And that can be a little bit erratic and does tend to fall the wrong way at times, Dean, where do you see the threat from Spurs? I mean, it's normally fairly obvious, but where do you see it in terms of how we're going to line up? I mean, Kane is obviously a huge threat against any team. But
Kane, on his day, he's unplayable. Son, he's blown me away this season. Other than De Bruyne at the moment, if you could give me any player in the league, it'd be Son. He turns it on so quick. Kane is kind of he's readable. You know what Kane's going to do every time, but Son has been so unpredictable in the best way possible. He's been unbelievable this year. I really do think that this is the game to take Trent out of the foreign line, because I just think Milner, he's got that bit more savviness about him. He won't go too high unless it's really, really possible that he can get forward and back quickly. He'll sit a bit deeper, watching Son's every move. But Bergwijn, if he starts, he's been hung cold this season, but when he's played well, he's played really, really well. And depending on Robertson's mindset, he could really get Robertson, I think. And that Thiago against Holberg, if they can stop our threat as much and counter press us as quick as possible, I think Son will do a lot of damage. And who's he going to play? Like Matip, I'd rather Matip up against Kane than say Williams or Phillips. But we still don't know who's going to play. I'd go with Phillips and Matip. I'd play Phillips for the purpose of the set pieces and have Matip just sticking to Kane for the whole game. But Spurs this year, REA's been stepping up. Reguilon's been doing very well. They seem to have a threat all over the pitch now, Spurs, which for the last few years, we no one's really ever been able to say that. So we're going to have to really, really be switched on. Really, really switched on.
Yeah, and I suppose you've Ndombele coming back to form as well. He's starting to show a bit of promise again now as well. So they are getting goals. They're getting goals all around the park as well. You know what I mean? They're not. Whereas we're always heavily reliant on the front three normally. You know what I mean? We don't. Our midfield doesn't score a lot of goals. But it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a huge matchup. It's a real. You know, if you like top four plus a title, you know, run kind of decider type thing, you know, because if United are going to do what I assume they're going to do to Sheffield United and go 9 points ahead, if we were to lose this game, I think really it's going to be very difficult to sustain the league challenge at this stage, and we will really be just trying to push for a top four then, you know. So it's a huge game. And then I suppose for Spurs, I suppose it depends what comes out of the FA Cup and stuff like that, because that is a real opportunity for them to put a trophy in the cabinet looking at the FA Cup. Although there is a lot of good teams left in it, but once you get to the business end of the season and you're chasing down the league and you're chasing down Champions League and Europa League and all that kind of stuff, the FA Cup becomes, you know, less important in your vision for the future, as opposed to if you're like Spurs who are chasing a trophy and Mourinho wants to put a trophy in there for Spurs, you know. So the FA Cup would be a big deal for those boys, you know.
What kind of team is he going to put out tonight? Like that's a big decision as well. Like three days before the Liverpool game, it's a big game tonight. Who does he play? Mourinho want to win a trophy nonetheless. What kind of team does he put out tonight? Doesn't want to risk losing.
I think he'll probably start with a real strong team tonight and try and put 2 or 3 goals on the rack fairly quickly. And then he'll whip those boys off and bring on the likes of, what's your man's name, Fachensis or something like that, who looks... man,
he was celebrating the World Cup win against, who was it that they played in the last game? He scored from a yard out and celebrated like they won the league. Vinicius, is it?
Yeah, Vinicius, yeah. But he looks... He's still a decent player, no doubt about it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's the amount of players this year that aren't scoring.
Yeah,
you got to take that into account as well. But I think you'll probably, you know, line up a strong team tonight, put it out there, try and, you know, get Wickham out of the way early, and then just pull the guys off and put on whatever's available on the bench, you know. And like in terms of form. You know, there's not much in it. There's a win, basically a win to a draw, basically, if you look at who they've played. So the form is quite similar. And of course, there's always that battle there. I mean, Jose always wants to get one over Klopp and vice versa. You know what I mean? This is like an old school rivalry. These guys have been at it now for a long time now at this stage. You know, in terms of predictions, lads, Graham, what are you expecting to happen? What sort of a scoreline are you looking at? Who are you thinking is going to do the business?
Well, I'd probably presume Kane and Son will step up anyway. But it's just depending on whoever's right back or left back. They don't give away silly free kicks and penalties like we have done in the past. But I'd be down for both teams to score anyway. But I think we'd be happy with a point. But if we can get the win, we'd be delighted. But a point would be probably happy for both teams.
So you're thinking like a score draw 1-1, or are you thinking 2-1 Spurs, or
either or 1-1 or 2-1?
So you're figuring on a tight game.
Yeah, not much given away.
Dane, join me in here. Give me some hope for Thursday, will you? Tell me what's going to happen. Give me some good news.
Before I give my prediction, I just want to ask Graham a question. Do you think at the moment, I know Spurs are going up ahead in a lot of games, and then they're kind of just sitting back, and that's leading to negative results. Do you think now is the time to really, with the attacking trait you have and how bad we've been defensively, now is the time to go at Liverpool?
Yes, but definitely, because if we go 1-0 up, I'd say Mourinho was saying, go see if get another, try and get a second, try and get a third. Don't be sitting back. Like if we go 2-0 up in the first half, and then second half let you have the ball, you could easily come back and get me 2-0. Then it'd be full time. And then Jose'd be saying, what you do? What just give the ball away for? So we should have pressed it, but yeah, we should have attacked, definitely.
So
Dane, give us your prediction then. How do you see it going?
Definitely think we'll concede. It's kind of inevitable now. We look vulnerable on every attack from the opposition. But I'm not just saying it bias being a Liverpool fan, but I do genuinely think that yesterday, even though we lost, will give us real hope. Salah will be massively boosted. I think we'll. I want to say 3-1, but I think 3-2. I think we'll concede, but I think we'll get a win against Spurs on Thursday, and I might see some sort of revival. Please God.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge game. I think it's going to be. I'm thinking 3-1 Liverpool, only because I don't think the back line at Spurs is going to be able to contend with Firmino, Mane, and Salah if they're returning to form.
Yeah.
And I think if we do go with the structure you're thinking, Dane, with Thiago pushed up more and Fabinho maybe in midfield with the two boys at the back, I think that will give huge confidence to the team to push on and really attack, you know.
Yeah, but just sorry, I don't mean to cut across you there, but like I think Klopp should be looking at the way Spurs set up. It is a lot defensive minded, home or away. I just think if we play Thiago further forward, I think if Matip plays where, maybe if Matip plays where if he's not going to trust Phillips or Williams, put Henderson with Matip, put Fabinho in the middle, Fabinho, Gini, and Thiago. Fabinho doing what he usually does, breaking up play. He gives away those fouls, but he gives away the fouls where it gives you time to. They're not too dangerous. Do you know what I mean? He breaks it up like way earlier than you let it go. Like you don't want it to go like just outside the box where there's a threat like yesterday for Fernandes free kick. I think if Fabinho sits in front of the defence, Gini just the usual workhorse in the middle of the park, and then you have Thiago behind the three boys. Because if Spurs are going to sit back, we've seen with Thiago the second half of last season, Thiago is one of the best players on the planet for breaking it, like for that key pass or for just taking someone out of play and then just setting the goals up. I do think that Thiago, Klopp could be looking and saying, right, this is what we're missing. That key pass, getting in behind, because last season that a lot of our best play was getting behind the last man, whether it be Bobby or whether it be Mo, whether it be Sadio. But I just think we're lacking that now because we're so worried about how we are defensively. Players are thinking, will I go, will I stay, will I go, will I stay? I just think go for it on Thursday night. Go, you're away from home, our backs are against the wall, everybody's thinking Liverpool are done. Just go for it. 100% go for it.
Yeah, it's amazing what a win could do for Liverpool season. We and if we are going to get players back, if Jota's close to coming back and stuff like that, Virgil's kicking a ball at the moment out in Dubai and stuff like that, so he can't be too far away. I mean, you would think another month or so we would get him back. If we could just ride out the storm at the moment and keep to within 3 to 6 points off the top of the league, the likes of Jota coming back and Virgil, if he comes back, would be absolutely huge if it happened. It'd really lift the squad. But I think looking at the play there against United in both matches, Thiago was so deep when he picked up the ball. It was forcing the issue with Bobby having to come so deep then to pick up the ball, and it's very, very difficult then when you're trying to split the lines really with two guys, and not only that, you've Mane and Salah, they're hugging the sidelines really, you know what I mean? They're not even in around that corner of the 18-yard box where they normally swarm on lads and cause that kind of chaos. But it's definitely an intriguing toy that we can look forward to, and brilliant to get you guys on. And thanks for a million for coming on. It's great to get you guys on to do a preview because it's been too long, So we'll have you back on again. So for myself, Niall Hogan, for Graham Cummins, and for Dean Fitz. Thanks for coming on, guys, and doing that preview. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Peace be with you.